Okay, chapter 3, 4 review, mislabeled up here. I'll get that fixed, but it won't be fixed in this video. So here you're comparing three distributions. Make sure you can write all over your test if you have something like this. What's pretty obvious is this one has the highest median. So if we're looking on here, according to this, the median is roughly 5250. So I said in here the median for company C is 5,200 stocks, and sold, and for A it's about 2,700. Okay, company C has the largest median. Okay, so let's remember, if you're comparing distributions, that's a C in CUS that you got to talk about, but you also have to compare the medians. Okay, so make sure you get comparative language, greater than, lower than something. A statement like this, the median for company C is 5,200, which is the highest. That would get you all the credit because we know which one is the highest. If we're talking about which one is the best, that's really one of the side questions. But the first thing it says compare the distributions. Now, company C, remember right here, hopefully you can see my mouse. From the median though in company C down to the bottom is a lot longer than the median up to the maximum. Okay, so that one is clearly skewed left. I would say company B is also skewed left because if you go from the median to the minimum, it's a lot longer than the median to the maximum. However, company A, from the median to the maximum, median to the minimum, is about the same. So that's the only one that should be called symmetric. So let's remember, we got to talk about shape. It says it's roughly symmetric for A. It's skewed to the left for the other two. So we've addressed shape. Then I did address center already. The spread, now I would go with IQR or range. If you're in doubt, you can always use range. It's pretty clear that company B has the largest range. Company C has the smallest range. Now you should give numbers with that. I used IQR in my answer key. The IQR for A is about 2,100, and I'm getting that by taking the third quartile minus the first quartile. Actually, that was for A. Okay, and whether you use range or IQR, you should come up with the fact that company C has the smallest range and the smallest IQR, which is about 1,600 for the IQR. So company C is the least spread. We can see in the graphs there's no separated points, so there's no apparent outliers. So we've addressed shape, center, spread, unusual features, and then also done it in context. It says the distribution for the number of stocks sold. We've got the context. So remember the 5 things. Then also discuss greater than, less than in terms of the median, and the IQR, which one has the largest median or smallest median, depending on what you're looking for. Now, we're making the assumption that selling is good, so company C is overall the highest, and then it's also the most consistent because it's the least spread out. So which company appears to be the best? Company C appears to be the best. I should have stated that a little more clear in there as well, but it does appear company C would be the best. So that type of question would be about 9 points. 7 of them would be for the CUS, 5 points for CUS, and then 2 more for comparing centers, comparing IQR. Hopefully you're watching this and getting a good review, but expect this on the test. This will be on the test where you're comparing distributions, at least for 7 points. The extra 2 points I would have in this one would be for saying company C is the best because it's the highest and most consistent. I may not have that on the test. Okay, next, hopefully you can create a box plot and a histogram from data and use certain bins. Okay, now if I say on the test you need to use bins of 2, you can change that. If you're using the Inspire, you can change that menu 2-2-2-1 or 2-2-2-2-1 on the Inspire. I might have an Inspire down here, but let's see. Let's bring it up real quick. If we were on a histogram, I don't have these in. I've got some stuff from Hank Aaron, Sammy Sosa in here, but menu 1, 4, Once you have it graphed, then it's menu 2, 2, 2, and then number 1 equal bin width, and there you set the width to 2. I always just make the alignment 0, so that way it's in essence, it may not all be on the screen, but it's starting at 0, going 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so on and so forth. And now you will see that these are bins of 2. It may not look like it, but see, in here you've got 2 bins in this same spot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control Escape a second. It will undo it. These bins, it's unclear what they're being marked by. These aren't clearly bins of 2 when you have the 24 right in between. I'm going to Control Y, which will redo. If I can find that. There we go. Okay. But don't be confused because there's 2 bins in here. This isn't a bin of 4. It's a bin of 2 because we're going 24. This would be 26 here. You can hover on your Inspire if you've got an Inspire. If you've got an 84, you got to do it a little bit differently, but you can set those windows as well. But this one is clearly a bin of 2, going from 26 to 28, and that's using interval notation like you would learn in pre-calculus. It can be 26, but it can't be 28. The next bin starts at 28 and goes to 30. So make sure whatever I ask, I might ask bins of 2, bins of 4, bins of 5, bins of 3, whatever I ask on the test, that you can do that. So you should be able to type those in. Now you don't even have to do it on the calculator, but you do have to know how this works. You know, this one, there's 2 between 14 and 16. Well, that's these 2 15s. 17 would be in the next bin. And then there's 2 in this bin because there's 2 17s, but the 18s, we've got 1, 2, 3 18s, 4, 5 18s, 6 18s, and 3 19s. That's 9. There should be 9 in this bin because they're all the 18s and 19s. When you land on a bin limit, it goes into this one. So there were 9 that go in here. 3 20s, 2 20s and a 21 would all go in here, and then 2 that go in here, 22, 23, and 24, 25. Make sure you label. Down here, this says quiz, this says quiz score, this says frequency. Make sure you label that. Can you make a box plot? Can you make a histogram? You can use the calculator to just let it do it for you. That's totally fine. Now, are there outliers in the data? You have to take the data. You have to find the IQR. So you would type these in, and you would find that the third quartile is 20.5. It's right between 20 and 21. The first quartile is one of the 18s. Well, when you subtract those, you get 1.5. But then you have to know these formulas. If you don't know these formulas, you're going to get this part wrong. I don't want you to get this part wrong on the test. You have to know, you take the lower fence is the first quartile, sometimes called the lower quartile, but Q1 minus 1.5 times 2.5. I'm sorry, 2.5 was the IQR. I said that wrong. And that gets you 14.25. Is there any data below 14.25? No. Every year I get students on the test, they find this fence and then they say, oh, 14.25 is an outlier. 14.25 is the fence. That's why when you graph this over here, 14.25 would be right here, and there's no dot below it. So that's the fence. That's not an outlier. It's where the outliers start. 24.25 is the other fence. When you take the third quartile or upper quartile plus 1.5 times 2.5, you get 24.25, which if you drew a line right here, you'd understand, hey, 25 ends up beyond that. So then 25 is an outlier. I don't have that on the key. I'll get it added to the key, but I don't have it on here. But number 3, you should say yes, 25 is an outlier. All right. It says to problem 1, how does the mean compare to the median for company C? So if we look at company C, the median is here at about 5,200, give or take 5,250, something like that. Well, since it's skewed to the left, the mean would be lower because of the skew. So that's what this question is about. The mean would be lower because the skew left would pull the mean down. The median resists change. You have to remember, so if it's skewed right, it gets pulled up. If it's symmetric, it would stay the same. All right, here we've got a 5-number summary for midterm scores in AP Stats. Now, we may not know the shape, so one way to find the shape is take the median and subtract the minimum. The left side would be 23 units long, and the right side is only 10. So this one is skewed to the left because it's longer going down to the minimum. So would you expect the mean to be higher or lower than the median? I'd expect it to be lower because it's skewed left, and it would pull the mean down. Same question. I usually ask that a couple times. All right, now it asks for the 5-number summary. Again, the only thing you need to find the fences are the 2 quartiles. And you do need to calculate from the 2 quartiles. You would take 90 minus 80, and 90 minus 80 is 10, and that's the IQR. That's where this 10 is coming from. Then you take the first quartile, 80, subtract 1.5 times the IQR, you get 65. Is there any data below 65? Yes, 62 is an outlier because it's below the fence limit. Now you have to show work for both fences. Upper fence, 90, plus 1.5 times 10 is 105, and the maximum isn't beyond that. So the fence would be up here beyond the maximum, so there's no outliers above that one. Okay, again, here's a comparison. Which class, sophomore, junior, senior, has the lowest cumulative college GPA? So lowest is this number here. It's the lowest minimum, so juniors, and it looks like about 1.6. Now, if you estimate that at like 1.55 or something like that, as long as it's above 1.5 and still obviously not getting up in the 2 range or anything, I would give you that answer. B, which class has the highest median GPA? And what is the GPA? So the highest median, well, this is the median. This one's got the highest median, and it's the sophomores at maybe about 3.5. And again, that's 3.75, so we like 3.25, 3.5, 3.75. I think 3.25 is a good estimate. Which class has the highest, has the largest range? Well, largest range, most spread, looks like juniors has the largest range. And again, it's going from like maybe 3.8 or 3.9, maybe, I guess that's probably 4.0, because if we're going up to 4.5 on here. So 2.4, okay, is roughly the IQR. Which class is the most symmetric? Most symmetric. Now again, you go from the median down. This one looks skewed to the left. It's longer on the bottom side here, or the left side. This one could be kind of symmetric, but I think it's a little longer here. Overall, I think the most symmetric, probably from median down and median up, is probably seniors. Seniors most symmetric, and sophomores is most skewed. A little argument that, but I do believe that the juniors is definitely skewed left as well. All right, this one is again another one on compare the distribution. Make sure you start out. Let's go through the checklist. 7 points, and I'm doing this one twice because it's going to be on the test, probably not on there twice, but it says the distribution of heights. So, what do we have? We have heights here, and distribution of heights for the females is skewed left. Now, why is that skewed left? Again, and the males is symmetric. Remember, you go from the median, so you're going from the median here all the way down. You include the outliers. The bottom side is longer when you include the outliers. If you ignore the outliers, this might be considered symmetric, but it's a lot lower here. The distribution of heights is skewed left for the females. It says it has a median of about 65. You just got to draw a line across. The median for the males is higher, maybe roughly at about 70. Females have an IQR of about 4. You'd need to subtract the width of the box, looks like about 4, and several low outliers. Distribution of heights for the males is symmetric. Now, even going from here, including the outliers from here to the top, that's about the same. So it's definitely skewed left for the females, and with a median that is higher, okay, at about 70. The IQR is similar. It's about 4 for the IQR. Now, if you go at the range, the males are going to have a slightly larger range, I think. It might be pretty close, but I didn't go with range. It has many low outliers and 1 high outlier. So make sure, again, you address center, which is the medians. You compare the centers. You address spread, which we did IQR, and we compared them, said they're about the same. If you go with range, you say males maybe a little more spread. You go with shapes. Females definitely skewed to the left. Hopefully you're getting that. Remember, you're going from the median all the way to the lowest value. So you have to include those outliers, and then the median to the highest values. If you ignore the outliers, which you can't do, then you might call the females symmetric. So make sure you don't do that. Okay, then we addressed outliers. Both of them have outliers. Males have one high outlier, and we did it in context. That's 7 points, making sure you get the comparison of the spreads, comparison of the centers. Otherwise, it's basically 4 points for cuss, 1 for context, and then 2 to compare those things. All right, hopefully you're prepared for this next test. Thanks for watching.